Curious to know what you think of Dr. Casey Means, because I just read an article on something called Doximity. Doximity is a platform for doctors, and the article was fed to doctors about how the president would nominate Dr. Casey Means for Surgeon General. Now, if you know anything about Dr. Means, she did not finish an ENT residency. Instead, she opted to go into something called functional or integrative medicine to focus on lifestyle as medicine. So being your best self, living your healthiest life, using food and other natural substances to create health. What a thought. I've been trained in functional medicine. I know quite a bit about it. I don't practice a ton of functional medicine, but I've pulled a lot into my practice because there are a lot of things that are important to be able to help people in different ways, right? So if you want to know about your microbiome, if you want to know about your genetic SNPs and metabolic health, your mitochondrial health, etc., those are the kinds of things that functional medicine doctors learn. When I read this article, what I focused on was the comments. There were hundreds of comments from doctors just bashing Dr. Means. Why? Because she never finished residency, she never got a medical license, and she never entered the clinical traditional space that we have in America. And so these doctors are just ripping her apart. They're saying things like, just because she's pretty and a celebrity, of course the president would go after something like that, but it doesn't mean that she's credentialed enough to be the Surgeon General. Why would we ever trust somebody to be the Surgeon General who doesn't even have a medical license? Well, she has some other credibility. She founded Levels, which is a company that advocates for continuous glucose monitoring. She wrote a book on metabolic health and has done a lot of other things in experimental but natural ways to help people, okay? So I just thought it was so interesting to see all these doctors just ripping somebody apart for not partaking in the traditional medical system. But guys, the traditional medical system sucks. It is filled with doctors who are unhappy, burned out, have God complexes, dismiss patients, talk down to patients, and they don't even like their jobs or their lives. I don't even know if they care about their patients. Like, I feel like you feel me, right? Like, I've talked about this in other videos and people just start going like this about how this doctor didn't listen to me, that doctor dismissed me, doctors are a joke, that kind of thing. I feel like that's heard. I feel like that's a given. And for all these doctors to not accept somebody who didn't want to go into a world that is just full of stress and unhappiness, can you really blame her? I did the same thing, guys. I practice a lot of traditional medicine and then I pull a lot of integrative medicine into it because that's what patients need. And there's a lot to natural medicine and hormone care and mitochondrial health and food as medicine, etc. I just decided to practice medicine on my own terms and not work for the insurance companies. So I work directly for my patients and it works really well. I enjoy it. My patients seem to enjoy it. And so how can you fault somebody, a doctor, for seeing the future and saying like, I don't know that I want to be a part of that. And then going and living their best life and making a difference in the world, not using medications and not using intimidation and fear tactics and getting burned out and dismissing their patients. I don't know why you would be so mean about it.